Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for holding this timely and important hearing, and thanks to you, Administrator Criswell, for taking the time to be with us today. It's critical that we discuss FEMA's short-term and long-term plans to meet challenges posed by an evolving disaster landscape. Natural disasters have become more frequent, more intense, and of course, more damaging and costly. And they're having a greater impact on communities across the nation. And it's critical that FEMA have the capacity to respond to this growing challenge. And to meet this goal, I believe FEMA needs an expanded workforce. We're also working on how we can help with reservists and for who get called up. We have to be able to be certain that your programs are implemented as effectively, efficiently, equitably, with as little red tape as possible, but protecting against the potential for fraud and abuse. My state, my home state, Oregon, we got great natural beauty, but we also have great risk of natural disasters. Flooding, wildfires, the potential for a massive, once in 350 to 500 year earthquake at 9 on the Richter scale, which would bring tsunamis. And then, of course, we had the unprecedented extreme heat events last summer, which caused mortality in Portland, the second least air-conditioned city in the country because we never needed it before, and Seattle. We had temperatures that were so far above the norm, it couldn't have happened. There's a consensus of scientists without the impacts of climate change, and it'll happen more frequently. So new challenges for FEMA and things that we need to prepare for, as the chair mentioned, with mitigation in advance. You've been stretched, and I think the whole committee recognizes this. Your workers have done incredible things with, in my opinion, inadequate resources. And we want to hear more about your 22-26 strategic plan and how you intend to expand your capacity and be able to deal with these disasters as they happen. I think you've been doing a great job at an agency which did fall into a little bit of neglect during the last administration. You've taken us through the pandemic, a whole different and new challenge. Hurricane Ida, Kentucky tornadoes, while you're reforming programs at the same time, which is long overdue. I'm pleased you've made equity a priority, and the agency continues to seek innovative ways to restructure its programs. In particular, the issue of documentation. I first ran across this as a very significant issue in Puerto Rico when I was on a congressional trip down there after the disastrous hurricane, where the courthouses were wiped out. People had no way of providing the documentation that was initially being demanded, and they were all routinely being denied. And we've taken some steps to mitigate that, but we need to do better. We had a similar instance in Southern Oregon with a devastating wildfire which wiped out a number of trailer parks. Similar issues regarding lack of documentation because they're house trailers parked in a trailer park. We have to be able to deal with these things. Again, we always have to be wary and afraid of the potential for fraud and abuse, but we don't have to get to the point where we're disqualifying people who should be and are eligible, and have gotten lost in the bureaucratic quagmire of being initially denied, not knowing how to reapply or what other documentation they might be able to provide. And I think you've made some strides there, but I think more need to be done. As the chair mentioned, resilience and mitigation are absolutely key. I mean, the cost-benefit ratio is extraordinary. And some of these programs, in particular mitigation, are not tremendously accessible to small, rural, and disadvantaged communities who lack the expertise of sophisticated management staff. And, we need to be able to figure out ways to help them better, apply and understand what they could be eligible for in the wake of disasters or pre-disaster in terms of mitigation and planning. There's $1.7 billion that could yet be committed for pre-disaster mitigation. From the COVID-19 declarations alone, and I'm hopeful that we will find ways to usefully invest those funds. Thanks again for being with us today. Thanks again for your work at the agency, your expertise, and look forward to your remarks. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.